You know what I mean?
I forgot to start the recording. Sorry, guys. Keep going.
But you made some really good points. And once you acknowledge that there's a design to this, and you must follow the design. Like I feel like it's few and far in between to where the man staying at home or the man is not doing what he's designed to do and the relationship or the marriage works. I feel like it's very few and far in between. It's like I feel like you can't get past the resentment that a woman will have when she's doing his role.
Yeah.
That's putting her in a masculine role. You know what I'm saying? And she's not gonna have not gonna have any choice but to come home and be like, I want this way. I'm making the money, so you do it. You know what I mean? So,
That's so true.
That's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Elwood.
Because the man to be at home and still want to be in control when she's making the money, and it's her money coming in, taking care of everything, and still won't let her have the say, and that builds resentment too.
right, because women are just not built to support men. You know what I'm saying? They're not. We, like you said in the beginning, men are made to work. Our bodies are made to work. Women's bodies are not made to go out and physically work. Not for long periods of time. Not like we can.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So, I work this summer at 15. Get out of here and go work. You shouldn't be sitting up in my house all summer. Get out of here.
Right.
Work.
It's just weird. Like even for your son, you know what I'm saying? Your son just sitting around. That's not even your husband. It's just weird to have a boy sitting around not doing nothing. Like you got to go do something.
Yes.
And I always say, even me, even because I have the ability to work from home or work on site. So sometimes just me leaving the house.
Right.
Like I come home and like, oh honey, like what? I ain't do. You left the house. It's the fact I left the house to go work, even though I can work from home. It's just something different. When I came home, like, honey, I'm home. You're home. It's like
she gotta feel like you're doing some work. You gotta feel like you are. Because when you sitting at home, even though because I work from home too, even though you sitting on the couch, you may be working in your brain, but she don't know that. Yeah. So I we got a lot of land, so I go out, I cut the grass, I pick up I do something to make it look like I'm actually doing work. I may not be getting paid for it, but I'm doing something. I ain't just sitting at home on the couch. That just don't feel right.
Yeah, right. Definitely, yeah.
That is.
And Vanessa, even when your son was there with you, if he didn't, wasn't working, you felt some kind of way.
Oh, that's funny. You took the words right out of my mouth. I felt some kind of way.
Some kind of way.
Yep.
I mean, her in his 20s, and she was like, you need to do something.
You need to do something. Quick.
So,
thank God.
So it is designed this way, people, and we can't get away from it. And it works better when we learn that these things are set up by design and we embrace them. And when we do it this way, it will work better. God knows what he's doing. He created us this way. Okay? It's not a mistake. And and just for the purpose of the recording, because I forgot to start at the beginning, number one was leader. Number two, because the man came first. Number two.
I'd like to, but I don't know.
Okay. And then number three, he's you got some, Vanessa?
Okay. I do.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say that Bobby and I have a non-traditional marriage, but then we have a marriage that we're looking at a older couple as well. So, and although when Bobby and I did get together, I understood what I was getting into, but I believe God wanted us to be together. So it was two things. It was acceptance. I had to accept what God was giving me. and two, expectation. I also needed to understand the expectation of my role and of Bobby's role. So maybe if I had a Christian marriage when I was 20, it would have been something different, but I didn't. I didn't have this marriage until I was what?
35, 38.
38, and Bobby was 50. It was different. So, but yeah, this marriage is working fine. Fine.
It works the way God intended for it to work, exactly. Which is not to say I haven't been employed, because I have been employed.
Mm-hmm.
I have gone out. I have earned a living, right up until the time cancer took my leg from me. And, and if I had my druthers, yeah, Mrs. Ward would be here, going to the kitchen, making me a sandwich and things like that. And I would be making sure that grass was cut, snow was shoveled, walls were painted, whatever she and God determined that I was supposed to do. But as it is, all I can tell you is God's good, and he had a plan. He had a plan. And we may not know why he planned it that way in the flesh, but someday in the spirit, in the presence of Yahweh God, in the presence of Adonai, he'll explain, this is why I did it for you too.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing something
good.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think one thing too, just kind of being a little bit transparent for me, is like, when it says, you get the credit, success, or failure of relationship. For me, that was always heavy for me to understand, what you do as a husband will make or break your family. And for me, it was always kind of hard to make decisions because it's like, okay, and for me, so I'm a person, I'll say, hey, baby, I'm doing this, what do you think? And she'd be like, no, or yes, or maybe, or I'm like, okay. And she said, well, Jason, why don't you just make a decision? Because I want to make sure that every box is checked, because I don't want to make a decision and think, oh, now, hindsight 2020, you should have did this. I think because I think for me it's a fear. I almost a fear. It's just like a hesitation to say, hey, Jason, do not make a bad decision. And that's kind of my thing. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's like being a leader, being head. I understand that that's heavy. Your family, you think about that for just me, whatever. I don't care, just me. Yeah. But when you got a wife and kids and house and other people to consider that you'll suffer or profit from the decision you make, then it's like, oh God, let me tread softly, or let me ask questions, let me kind of ask opinions, make sure I ain't tripping. Because there are times I've made decisions like, hold up. Let me run by my wife and make sure I'm not, off left field. And sometimes she's like, honey, I love you, but no, I love you. That ain't it. And then sometimes I had to learn, what, when she don't like it, make the decision anyway, because I'm the husband. And that sometimes you have to make that decision as a husband, say, honey, I love you. Here's the decision I made. You may not like it, or you may be like, but you know what, but as a man, as a husband, okay, that's a decision. I made it. It's done. Whatever. And so I think, one thing for me I have to consider is that, don't be afraid. Make those decisions sometimes, and then like know when to kind of seek counsel and seek questions. And then sometimes, just do it. Why you asking me for? Just do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, because I just want to make sure that I'm considerate of other bosses, because I know what a decision I make, how it will affect other people. So
That's good. That's
That's
good.
good.
Anybody else? Okay, so, all right. Number 3. The man was also set up as the teacher from the beginning. Because what did I tell you first? Adam and Eve were there. Well, no, Adam was there, and God gave him the rule before Eve ever came around. So the way she knew it is by Adam saying, hey, God told me we don't eat of that tree right there. She wasn't there at that time. Okay, she came later. And so he was the teacher from the get-go. And and hey, I named all these things this, and we have to till this ground, because he was already working when she came, and then she came to help him to do the work. She was to help me, and she came to help him, but he had to teach her what he had got from God. Okay, and so he automatically, it designed as a teacher, and because the male, but as a teacher, sometimes, and a lot of times, a man hates to be taught. Maybe let's look at the directions. We don't need that directions. I know where I'm going. Okay, but we've been traveling around. I know where I'm going. Will you stop bugging me? Okay, they don't like to be taught sometimes, and males want to give instructions. And when the male is not giving them, he feels his nature threatened. So, and it says, women, sometimes right does not bring life. Meaning, choose your battles, because he is made and designed as a teacher. You don't have, if you tear him down all the time as that, it's gonna trigger something in him, because he's wired that way to try to be a good teacher. And men, and we talked about this in the other session, I believe, but because a woman is designed to talk more in most cases, she wants to be heard. She doesn't always want you to solve her problems. As a teacher, you need to also know when not to teach. A lot of times, just listen to what your woman has to say and ask her, does she need your help in it? Instead of, well, baby, all you got to do is, oh, baby, and you come with, and you think you're doing good because you're stepping in, you're going to help her to solve this issue. And that's not what she needs a lot of times. She just wants to be heard. She wants to get it off her chest, and she just wants to, cipher through it herself. But that's the way she goes through her deciphering of what she needs to do. But you, as a teacher, you got that. It comes quick. And baby, all you got to do is. And she's like, no, you didn't even hear what I said. Okay.
Have you been in our house listening to our conversations?
You see what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
This is what we have to learn as people. And this is not just marriage stuff. This is any man and woman. They're designed like that. Even at work, the lady at work comes to me and telling me everything. I got to learn not to get up and solve her problem. Well, all you got to do is this, and just zap it from her instead of letting her learn and let her go through her process of how she learns.
And also too, even with that, it's like like you said, we said, men and women are different. And also you got to think too, especially in a marriage situation, you got two backgrounds, two upbringings, and now you have to cipher, okay, so prime example, I'm a military brat, so I grew up overseas, seeing the world and all that good stuff. My wife, she didn't get a chance to travel like I did. So when we came together, and there's things that I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? It's like, no. And so we have to understand, our upbringings play a part, and have to understand too, the best of both worlds. Okay, you know what? This part of our upbringing, okay, cool. This part, nah. And you have to kind of say, okay, kind of cycle, okay, which ones are the best of both two? And there's nothing wrong. And then too, it's not always just right or wrong, just different.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just different. That's it. There's no right or wrong. It's just different, and it's, and one thing we have to understand too, as couples that, ultimately we both want to go to the same place. I want to see the highway. She want to go the back roads. Why you want to the back roads? And sometimes we get arguments of the method to the madness. We still want to get to the same spot. We just want to go differently, and it's not right or wrong. It's just different. And so we understand.
Example.
We understand the method of the madness. Then okay, you know what? You like going to the valleys because you want to pick flowers. You want to do whatever. Okay, it's fine. Not right or wrong. Just different. I just want to get there, and I'm going 85 miles an hour and it's 65, and pray to God the cops will catch me.
Yeah.
And it's not right or wrong. Well, speeding part's wrong, but it's not right or wrong. It's just different. And sometimes we just understand those. It's just different, then sometimes we will understand that I think we'll kind of cure some of the issues we have because we're not fussing for stuff that's not really right or wrong, just different, and that's it.
All right. That's a good point. And
No,
I would say outside of relationships, I have a male supervisor. This makes sense now. He always want to turn everything into a teachable moment. I'm like, I don't want to have time for all that. I said, just get straight to the point. My personality is get straight to the point. Tell me what I need to do. I go do it. He's got to turn into a teachable moment and let's talk about it in details and let's do that. I'm like, oh my goodness, are you serious? I don't have time for this, you know, but now it makes sense. He always wants to make everything a teachable moment. And I'm like, really?
And again, like I said, it's not just a marriage. This is all relationships, male, female. And we're going to go through this, and this is the way. If we understand, get a lot of this understanding, we can have better relationships at work, at home, with our kids. The daughters are the same way. The boys are the same way. You want to, you know, our boys a certain way, but the boys are made like this, and they're like, "Mom, really?" You know. And oh, let's hooking up, and they're like, yeah, you know. So we gotta understand in all relationships, these are how it is. Was somebody else gonna say something?
Yeah, I have a question. It's kind of for everybody. Do you think men and women, like it's part of our design to bump heads? I don't think it's coincidental that it's so easy for men and women to disagree over the smallest things. You know, and it can be like any and everything. Like men are normally problem solvers. Like if you tell us a problem, we're gonna try to solve it for you. And women, like you were saying, a lot of times just want to be heard. They don't want us to solve the problem. And it just doesn't seem coincidental. Like how many marriages or how many relationships have ended because people don't understand this information that we're talking about right now. Like this is not stuff that we just know. Like you had to dig to get this. You know what I mean? Like you had to go and research and read about it and dig to figure this out. You know, so I know it's a verse in Genesis. I can't think of the exact verse of where it talks about how woman will try to overtake the man, but she won't be able to. And it just seems like that's constantly at play.
Well, okay. So, and what I had said in the last session is, or I think even at the beginning, we don't get taught this in church.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't get taught this in church. I don't know how many churches I've been through, from the Baptist to the non-denominational, and we don't teach it in church. There's a lot of preaching on a lot of things, but how to be in relationships in depth is hard to find.
Except Dwayne brought out some old CD series or whatever from Miles Monroe. He came to Solid Rock Church years ago and taught on this lesson.
Yeah, in fact, all this stuff right
years
here
ago.
is designed from what he taught us
From Miles Monroe.
from Miles Monroe. Actually, that's where I got this set up from, and then took it from there.
So I was really surprised at how in depth he went
he
into
came
when we
in.
listened to the audio series. I'm like,
Wow,
he really covered
we
everything.
came for, because everybody was like, you know, oh my gosh, that made so much sense.
Yeah.
And this was years and years. I mean,
this was before I got
there.
Yeah.
So it was 20 plus years ago. And he came and he really broke this down. This is his thing. And I had it all on the cassette tape and everything, listened to it 1,000 times. And you know, and now trying to push it out there. I've been pushing it out there for a while now, but it's stuff we don't get much in the Christian world.
Yeah.
When you said Miles Monroe, because I was sitting here going, is it Tony Evans or the other one, and which one got killed in the plane crash? And I couldn't remember between the two who it was, but it's Miles Monroe. Because I have his books and stuff on this and read them like long time ago, and I made up a little my own little piece of paper with the male and the and the female man, and So I was wondering if some of that this was where it came from.
Cause
But you can get his books out there with this. I mean, about this, if you have further, you can go out and get books. I mean, I've gotten it here. I'm not going to say like last year, but within the last several years, I still went out and got another one, in addition to the ones that I had from a while ago.
and I think I remember you and I talking about Miles Monroe and Tony Evans and stuff way back when.
Way back when.
Back then, and before you and Jaime got together and stuff. And we
Yeah.
relationships. And so, okay, so
May I say something?
yes.
Okay, I think that we expect the church to teach what needs to be taught at home sometimes. You're not in church every day. And children also will go by what they see in their parents. If they see the father treating the mother properly and listening and doing all these things, then that's what they will do.
That's a good point, Kathleen.
It is a good point.
Thank you.
And
You're welcome.
I think the majority of pastors don't know.
I think
I
I
think the
agree with
majority of
that.
people don't know.
yeah,
It's just like this problem is just too prevalent. You know what I mean? It's too prevalent for if every man understood that your wife or your woman doesn't want you to solve the problem when she tells you something, then this would probably eliminate 80% of arguments.
Amen.
So
Hey, I wanted to jump in. I have something I wanted to say too. As I was thinking about this and going back to like the Garden of Eden and even what you were reading here in Ephesians, I think God was very thoughtful about order, because a lot of things in marriage are from individuals fighting for position or fighting to be right, fighting to be heard, where we really don't have to do that. It's all about balance. And that's why God was very strategic in making sure that there was order and making sure that the husband understands his place and the wife understands her place. Therefore, we don't have to battle against one another. We can just be, who Christ wants us to be. As we're looking at here in Ephesians 5 and 24 and 25, it tells the husband how he's to treat his wife. And then it tells the wife how she's to treat her husband and how they're to interact with one another.
She is over
So
there
I think that's a big part of it.
She is over there enjoying your being.
yeah, and that's good, and and you're right. I mean, the church. Well, put it this way: once we learn this, pass it down your generation. Start teaching your kids. Start teaching. You don't go through the same ignorance that we went through growing up and fighting over. If we pass it along, they'll have a much better chance at relationships.
Amen.
Take the time to your grandkids, to your kids, or your nieces and nephews that you get a chance. Say, let me show you some things that I learned that might help you as you grow into relationships. Pass it along. Go ahead, Bobby.
I just wanted to say real quick that the outpouring of God's Holy Spirit in teaching men and women the dynamic of relationship and marriage, the outpouring of the Spirit is very strong at this time because Satan's attack are very strong at this time. He recognizes that his time is short. He's trying to say that the family is everything that God said it wasn't. God said husband, wife. He didn't say Adam and Steve. He said Adam and Eve. Edna was nowhere to be found with Eve, and so forth and so on. So he is attacking very, very strongly. He is saying the family's got to be destroyed.
Yeah, and what did I say last time? I said, if you look at it, he started with a man, and then from the man, he built the family, and then the family, the society, then the society, the governments, yeah, and then the nation, okay? but it's an upside down pyramid. And the easiest way for him to destroy it is to attack that man, get 11 men, and getting them out of their place with women and all that. I mean, this thing will crumble easier than trying to attack the whole nation and going it this way. He just starts here with the man who's holding the foundation together and starts to crack there, and the rest will tumble.
Destroy the nation from the inside out.
And that's what he's doing.
I don't know.
This and get back in our natural order, we will study this thing, and it'll be harder for him to destroy it.
What's crazy is you don't really see other countries pushing the type of stuff we do in America. Like the other countries don't go for all this man and you know what I mean? The woman's a leader and all this other stuff, and the woman's the one that's supposed to be out here working. Other countries don't do this. It's only here in the West and in the UK.
Yeah.
You know, so and I just feel like, I don't know, it just feels like
The conversation changed.
a conspiracy. I don't want to say conspiracy, for lack of a better word, that people are trying to bring America down, because this was a God-fearing country.
Correct.
Go ahead, Bridget.
Well, I want to say about like women or men solving women's problem. Me personally, and I know I might kind of be getting back on another subject.
Can you guys hear okay? Okay.
Me personally, sometimes when about the subject of solving problems and just listening, sometimes I think it depends on what the category is. And I've always valued it when Jason asked, or he will listen and he say, "How can I help?" Just asking me, "How can I help?" just seems like, oh, thank you. You know, because it's like sometimes I don't want his help, but sometimes I do need his help. And I don't want him to ever think, well, I just want you to vent and I don't do anything about it. You know,
That's a good point.
I'm like, ask me what to do. Just don't assume and just take over if you can. Because sometimes he's had to take over because he realized, okay, you are at your limit. I need to step in and take over because you sit down somewhere. And I've appreciated that sometimes too. But there's been times when he just says, okay, I hear what you're saying. How can I help you? And I can't really do nothing. Or I just say, I just need a hug. Or, you know, I just want to talk it out or whatever. And I think, you know, I heard this lady say on TikTok, not to change the subject, but she was saying, you should not ever have to tell your man what's needed. He should always know. Well, they don't. You don't. They don't. I don't always know. But if I come in and tell you that something's blinking on my car, I don't want you to just listen to me. I want you to go figure out that. Because I don't know. It's like I don't know. But, you know, so it's like I think that communication and just taking a moment back and just saying, what can I do for you? I value those things. I value that type of question when I'm emotional. Because, you know, sometimes it's like I'm just all over the place. I just need a vent, you know?
Yes.
Okay, so number 4.
Very good.
Man is supposed to be a cultivator. And I think it says that right there. I think the Amplified actually says that from what we were just reading. Okay, go ahead, baby.
Okay, so cultivator, everything that leaves your presence should be better than how it started. The Lord will never give the male man a finished product. This includes your mate. If you do not have the wife you want, cultivate her until she becomes that wife.
Okay, so now, well,
You don't like to hear that.
It's like uncomfortable laughter.
well,
It is interesting.
I mean, but okay, it's like this. So it's like, okay, the man says, man, you know, I could use a table. So what does God do? God doesn't give him the table, he gives him the tree and said, there you go. He got to take that tree, he's got to saw it up, he's got to nail it together, and he's got to work with it, and then he gets that final product. Okay. What happens when he gets a wife? You know, and the first thing you got to put the time in to and who she is, how she's wired, and what's her strengths, what's her weaknesses. You know, most relationships, people don't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
We work at everything else. We work at the job, we work around the house, we work, but we don't want to work on the relationship. We think, like Hallmark, it's just gonna come right together, and it's love, and it's
Don't hate Hallmark.
Yes,
and it's just so easy.
Oh, yeah.
But what I always point out to my wife is that on every daggone Hallmark, this man was with another woman, and the woman leaves and goes with some other good-looking guy, and they live happily. I said, that poor guy at the beginning of the thing that was with her in the first place, whatever happened to him? The women are all happy that she's happy with it, but he always gets ditched. Always at the beginning. But anyway, okay. So we need to work at it. Men, just like you would have to work at that tree to get your table, and it takes some work. You have to work at knowing your wife. How did she grow up?
Yeah, definitely.
How did she grow up? What were the things that triggered her as a child? What was her fears? What was her things that motivated her? And these are the things we don't do 90% of the time. I'm just saying, we don't, as men, we don't do it a lot. Okay, because, you know, we should, for some reason, with all the things we work at, we don't think we got to work at that. And that is where we should be working immediately. You get in some relationship. And if you then understand that, you will start cultivating her in the right way, and you guys will get into a sync that is just like off the chain. I mean, I know that the way me and my wife, you know, are going now, I mean, it has just been, I mean, it's been too much fun. We have so much fun. We understand, you know, we don't agree on everything, but we have a much better understanding. I have a much better understanding of her, what makes her tick, and gives her those things that will make her fulfill. You know, we got a trip, and I mentioned this last time. We got a trip to go on. I mean, sure, I don't try to plan it. She's the planner, and it makes her tick, and she loves it. So I give it to her, baby. Let's go on this. How about going here? She said, okay, plan it out, and she's all in it. And it makes her, you know, work in the way she is wired. What makes your wife work in the way she's wired? That she like to sew, that she like to do this. What things does she do that you can push her way that will cultivate her and being fulfilled? That's cultivating your relationship.
Did anybody want to add any feedback?
Any feedback?
I have feedback.
Yes.
I'm the oldest of 11 children.
Okay.
And my mom and dad had a great relationship. We never heard them argue. They never fought. If they did, it was behind closed doors. They had a wonderful relationship. And of all the siblings, there's only one married couple, because we all end up marrying. I married a non-believer, and that was chaotic. And so you have to work together. You have to have, Christ has to be in the center. Your marriage should be Christ-centered, which theirs was. And that's why their marriage was successful. So that's really important.
Yes, it is very important to have Christ as the center, but you'll learn that having Christ in your marriage don't keep you together.
Right, that's true. That's true.
The divorce rate in the church is the same or higher than the world right now, which is crazy.
Right.
And it's because we haven't, and he says we perish because of our lack of knowledge. And as we get this knowledge here, we can work in the way we're supposed to.
You know, one thing you said, one thing I thought about, you know, we have to get to a point where marriage, we can't get offended off the little bit. So me and we have, you know what, sometimes we have to say, hey, baby, let's have a real discussion. Don't get offended. And so we can, and there are things that were said that, you know, hey, we need to talk this out because there's something, we need to talk some things out that's like maybe sensitive, maybe kind of, I don't know. And you need those time to say, hey, we need to talk. Real talk, no holds barred, because there are questions or the things they need to talk about or things questions they need to ask that in other settings will be kind of offensive. And so, like I said, we need to stop being offended all the time of just, if I make a comment, oh, I'm offended. What do you mean by that? And I'm like, I meant this. And then she goes to argument, and it's like, hold up, I was asking a question or made a comment, and all of a sudden we're having an argument because I made a comment. So we have to have those times that, hey, we need to talk about it. Or whatever, talk about whatever. Because we don't talk about those situations or those feelings or whatever, events, whatever, then it'll come out later on out in the open, then it's a fight.
Right.
So
it's true.
And to help us to do that, like in our relationship, and I think I mentioned this last time, is we took a timer, we got 2 minutes apiece to talk so we could hear each other. And you go and you listen, and then what I heard, I would say, so, and I would repeat, I said, so what you're saying is this. And so, and she was like, well, that's not what I'm saying at all. Then what did you mean? Because see, a lot of times through my filter, it was totally different, because when you say that to me, that means this. Or when I say it to her, it means that. So because we would do that, we actually would, oh, okay. And get revelation of what we were actually saying. But we were not allowed to talk about the other person, and we had to listen. We weren't thinking about what we were going to say next.
Our rebuttals.
Okay? Because it's easy to not even hear them because you're thinking about what you're going to say. No, you had to listen, and then you had to kind of repeat a little bit. So what I heard you say was this. So, and then go into it to make sure you're even commenting on the right thing. Okay? All right. So, Byron and Shalonda, what do you guys think? Can you guys hear us?
Yep, we hear you.
What do you guys think?
I mean, Dwayne, this is this is number one on my radar as a Christian. Relationships or the lack thereof. I think this is an awesome subject, and you really hit on something, you and your wife, when you hit the word cultivate. Because it also means to make things better. And that can be a challenge. Me and her was just sitting here talking, and she was like, babe, you do that. I tell you stuff and you be trying to fix it. And that's who I am. But as soon as y'all was talking about that, I'm saying to myself, I'm having self-revelation. I'm like, man, I need to back off and listen more. And here this whole time, I thought I was like an excellent listener. And maybe I am, but there's always room for improvement. So that's where my thoughts are right now. And in these last 2 years being a people leader on my job, it's been a learning moment, because those are relationships too. They're work relationships. And even though I'm looking at number one, even though I'm the boss, it's really more of a responsibility thing, and making sure that my people have what they need to be successful. And really the whole thing about being the boss and laying the hammer down when it need to be laid down. Most of the time you really don't need to do that, unless you just got somebody that's just not doing their job. Most of the time, really what people really need is to be put in a position to be successful. So those are kind of my thoughts in a summarized manner.
It's good. And I mean, that and putting the people in where they should be is a cultivating thing. And like we said, the last time, if it's a bubbly person, they should be the ones out there in front of the people. And if it's the person that don't like to speak to anybody, but is good at getting the numbers, then they should be in the back doing that. And you got to know what that person is good at, whether it's on the job, whether it's at home, whether that kid is good at sports, whether he's not good at sports. You shouldn't have him out on the sports trying to make him a superstar when he hates it. Okay, you gotta cultivate that kid, that job, all those things. And one thing Miles Monroe used to always say too was, he said the president can't blame the secretary for the company going under. If he is the president, he's in charge, and if it goes down, I don't care how many workers you got, if he ain't doing the workers and getting the workers around, it is his fault. And he's usually the first one that needs to go, and then somebody else gets in there and get the people in the right area to make the thing work. And get rid of the people who won't work.
Yeah, and Dwayne, you reminded me of something when you just said that. I was listening to a message from Ron Carpenter. It was a couple years ago, and he was preaching and he was like super animated, and he said he was talking to men. He said, "Men, it might not be your fault, but it is always your responsibility." So, yeah, awesome.
That's good.
Wow.
That's good.
That is deep.
That is. And I mean, it may not be the workers may not be doing that well, but are they where they should be?
Mm-hmm.
You're the president, do you have them in the right place to be able to be the most efficient in what's going on in that company? All the workers, they're just not getting it out. Well, how do you have it set up? How do you have their workplaces? How do you have their interactions? All that. If you're the leader, all that's your responsibility. And at home, if you're the leader, all that's your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. This is really good, you guys. All right. Number 5. The mailman should be the provider. The Lord built the mailman with upper body strength. Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry about that. Provision. Provider, and another word for that is provision. The man is to have a vision. Proverbs 29 and 18. We can read that real quick. Let's see. What does it say? Proverbs 29, 18.
Would someone like to read?
When we get to it, yeah. Proverbs 29, 18. Okay, yeah. Anybody want to read that verse real quick?
Where there is no revelation, people cast off restraint, but blessed is the one who heeds wisdom's instruction.
Yeah, or in the King James, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. The man is the provider, which should have a vision for what he's trying to do with his family. Okay, and Monroe used to say, no woman should marry a man that does not have a vision, because you end up frustrated because the man ain't going nowhere. And you're supposed to help him, and what are you going to do? Help him go nowhere? You get frustrated. The women get frustrated when a man doesn't have a vision for them to help them with. And so what do they go? They're going to take over, and they're going to try to do, because we should be going somewhere as a family. This family should be doing something. That's the way they were. They're wired to help you, and you don't have a vision, they get frustrated. Okay? And as a provider, you supply what is needed, not what you want them to have. Find out your family's needs. And a need is different than a want. A need is different than a want. A need you can't do without. A want you can do without a want. But a need you cannot do without. Find out because it depends on how you're wired, you have different needs. Everybody doesn't have the same needs. Okay? But But part of a woman's need, in a lot of cases, for instance, is they may have a need to talk. Well, then you should be there to listen and hear them and have a little discussion. Okay, that's part of their need. They're wired that way. Or what is the kids' needs? Not what they want. They want that Xbox. Okay, but they don't have to have that. It'd be nice if we can get it to them, but they don't have to have that. But what are their needs? And from the security, the women needing the security, their kids needing security. Is daddy home? Is he around? Is he making us safe here? Are we safe around daddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So all these things, the provider should be doing. He should provide what's needed. And now, here's another thing though. When it says, he's to provide, it doesn't mean that he has to make the most money. That's not what it means. That does not mean that he has to be the breadwinner, because your wife is given to you as a helpmeet, and whatever she has is to help you. So if you make less than her, that's okay. That's not the issue. Whatever she makes, you bring it along, and it goes together, and it helps the family, and you make sure that everybody has what they need from you guys coming together. Men, don't feel, that because your woman is smarter than you, that she's got the degrees, she can make more money, that is a threat to you. That is not a threat. She is a help me to you, and everything she brings in, God is saying, this is what your household needs. I'm giving you her, because this is what I don't have. I have you wired like this to be able to do these things, and you're doing those things. Bring along what she's bringing, and you help, and you guys take care of everything. It's not.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I say something real quick. Lynn had to go get Ben from work, but Lynn also has been waiting all day during this thing to say she and I are wired completely different. She is she's the lioness of our pride. She's Proverbs 31, and she's probably, in my opinion, she is all the way Proverbs 31. She lets me pray with her. She lets me pray for her. We sit and we discuss things, but for the most part, she's out there looking for that field. She's out there looking for that cloth. And she recognizes that she has very specific talents, and she acknowledges that my talents are different from hers. And she was desperately trying to get that out in this conversation about relationships. And now that I've spoken for her, I just wanted to say thank you for letting me say that little bit about her.
Well, and the thing is, Bobby, and again, if he wired you this certain way, then he gives you a wife that is wired with the rest of that, so that together you're complementary, and the whole thing is taken care of. And that's what I'm saying. The wife might be the smarter, the wife might be the more outgoing, and you're not. But it's still, and you guys put it together as one to become one. And if you do it in the right way, it will make the whole person and flourish. But it has to be, he has to be doing this. So number one, to help us to understand how he, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are three, but they work as one. Yeah, and they have their roles, and they function in their roles. There's got to be something with that, because he says, as we are one, that's how I want you guys to be, as one. And so he's teaching it. Why do we have marriage? Because he says we got to marry him. How are we going to, that doesn't even make sense if we didn't have marriage in the earth. He says, you're going to be my bride. You're going to be the bride of Christ. if we didn't have brides and marriage, would that make any sense? Wouldn't even make sense. So he's doing all these things in the flesh so that we will understand a lot of things coming forth in the spirit.
Well, that's kind of what Paul said there in Ephesians when he was going down through the relationship between a man and a woman. He said, I'm speaking about that, but I'm also speaking about Christ in the church.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes,
yeah, you're right.
that's what I'm saying.
That's true. I never realized that till you just said that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, number 6, right? Protector. The Lord built the male man with upper body strength and logical thinking in order to protect his surroundings. Your family, but with that, your family, number one, should feel safe when you come around, not fearful because of your perverted use of why God gave you strength. Okay, it's not to beat up your family or to bully them around. It's for them to feel safe that you're going to take care of anything that tries to come near them. Okay, and we're going to get more into this as we go down about the man. But that logical thinking, where we'll just react and don't have time for the fear. I mean, the whole military thing. We're just gonna jump into action, dead or alive. Boom, 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 boom. And we're gonna. Whereas in most cases, the woman's not built like that. She's she's gonna take care of business if she has to, but in most cases she don't want to. The man though, or you come near my family, it's all in me. I tell people, I said, I believe man should not kill, but if you step in my house and threaten my family, you're gonna die before you leave. I'm just saying. I'm gonna make sure you don't get to come back and threaten us again. You ain't gonna go in jail, come back, and do none of that. But if you come in here once, you're gonna die before you leave because I'm not having you come back and threaten me and my family. I can let you know, okay? But other than that, outside of here, you're good. I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna pump your chest. But you come in here and threaten here, you're gonna die. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. And that's just the way my family's gonna be protected first. Okay. So and that's how we wire. So men understand how you're wired. Women understand how we're wired. Okay.
And actually, to kind of go back when Bridget's talking, my wife's talking about, protected. It's not always the, bang, 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 got to, it said if hey, something's wrong with my car, take care of it because it's a bad feeling to be a woman out, your car jacked up, janky, and your husband could have fixed it, but he let it ride because whatever, or didn't deal with it, whatever. So I think it's not more of just the physical protect the house, and one thing I have to learn, sometimes, hey, if I see the gas can low, guess what? I go get gas. You don't have to go get gas, for the most part. If I see the gas can,
hey, bad when you don't.
Yeah, and so it's not always the physical go out and protect your but little stuff, if you see something jacked with a house or something janky with a car or something, hey, just take care of it. Hey, baby, something's jacked up. I got it taken care of. So you don't have to worry about messing with it because I already took care. I got you. Yes. Or baby, this is messed up. I already got a plan to fix it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Those type of situations. It's not always that physical. You come to my house, I'm gonna kill you. But just some of this other stuff.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Anybody else?
I haven't really processed my thoughts yet. I'm listening and it's all good in terms of what you guys are teaching, and I agree with a lot that's being said. For me, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around some of it in terms of like how it relates like personality wise, because one of the things that Byron told me, can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you good.
Okay. Told me like early on, like when we had first got together, he was like, babe, you're like all woman, but you're also like my dude too. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, you think like a dude. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? So in that, so when I look at like these characteristics of a man or whatever, like I find that I have some of these same traits in terms of being a leader and a teacher and a cultivator and logical thinking. Like I'm more comfortable in the realm of thought. Feelings, I'm like, okay, if somebody starts crying around me, I'm like, oh goodness, I guess I should give them a hug, you know. So it's like I'm not super comfortable in that realm, but that's just how God's created me. Like I make decisions based on logical thinking and processing. But I guess for me, I'm just trying to process in terms of as a woman, when you have a personality that probably is found a lot within males, because I work with a lot of men, you know, it's not a whole lot of women that I work with. It's like really trying to learn, I guess, how to submit, you know, and being submissive to my husband, knowing that this is the role that God has placed him as the leader. So I submit to that, you know what I mean? Or I don't question, you know, his judgment unless it's going to take us somewhere, you know, on the wrong path, which most of the times is not. He's a very sound thinker. So for me, I'm just trying to process like what all this means, I guess. I'm just putting it out there, my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, this is not 100% every, you know, but it's a mode of things. And we just started looking at it. A lot of these things do come out, and you can say, okay, I am this way, and I think this. So how do we now relate? You know, being that we're both trying to cultivate or trying to do, how do we make that work? You know, kind of thing. So I mean, at least it brings it to the surface, hopefully, and you guys can, you know, see where you are in these things and talk about it. You know, but you know, and again, and if you're single or something like that, how you know deal again with whether it's your children, your grandchildren of the opposite sex, with your people on the job, it's all around these things. Let's get into some of the things of the women. Okay, females. Female number one, designed to be a helper. Help me, helper. Okay.
And to read this is as a woman is full of helping stuff. As a helper, realize when to help, learn how to help without overcoming the design of the male.
Go ahead.
Okay. The wife is the glory of the husband. Men, when you need help, run to your spouse. That is what she is designed for. Men.
And let me say right there too, be careful letting other women give you their helping stuff, because they will attach to you like you're supposed to be coming from your wife. If you tell her the things instead of your wife, she'll start trying to help you and start getting attached to you, and you'll start, oh wow, you know, and this is what sucks you into wrong relationships. Be very careful, because women are designed like this and they're full of that. But your wife should go to your wife first and get the helping stuff where you should be getting it, not out on that job with that woman that's always talking to you and you telling her and she's trying to help you, and all of a sudden that stuff starts tying together because it's designed that way. Be careful.
And not only on job sites, in the church.
In the church. Oh my God, church. Yeah, church too. Church too. Yeah. So just men and women, wherever you are, all that stuff will tie you together, and you'll think, wow, this is better than what I got at home. No, you're not even giving her the chance to be your helper. You're talking about it at work, and then by the time you use your 3,000 words at work, you come home, don't want to talk. You done talked it all out at work with these other people and other women, but other people, and then you come home, don't even want to talk, and your woman's got 6,000 words she got to get rid of, and it's a problem. And you're like, baby, I just want to relax. Baby, I just want to watch again. Baby, just, you know, and you didn't do all that stuff and got all that helping stuff from somebody else, and you wonder why your woman is frustrated. Okay, keep it right. Go ahead.
Men, do not feel threatened by your woman because everything she has is to help you. Therefore, inherit all her attributes, whether it's money, degrees, talents, etc. Do not destroy your woman's helping gift.
Right. Don't destroy her ability to bless your household because she thinks she's better than me, or she's making more money than me, and getting off into that pride stuff, area instead of saying, because I always say, this is my retirement plan. I can't wait when I retire. She's making good money. I am too happy. I could, I mean that is helping me. I mean, my retirement plan. It's all there. I mean, but seriously, and I pump her up with that. Baby, you're making more money. Oh, she said, I'm getting another raise. Woo! And how can we do it? And we can go on better trips. Whatever some of the things you like to do, and we got more money because you're making it. Let's do some of those things. And no, we're not going on that cruise, but we're gonna go through that. Yes. Okay.
Oh my
There's
God.
some stuff we recently talking about. So,
But
but
can
we,
I say something about that?
Yeah.
But I would also say, don't take advantage of those items because you don't want to push yourself. You want
That's a
to
good
take the
point.
easy street. You want to go the easy way. I'm going to kick back and I'm going to let you roll with it. So there's that balance of appreciation and not taking advantage of those.
That's a
and,
good
and that
point.
can happen.
that can't happen. The man is still to be the worker.
Mhm.
He is built that way. He should not be saying, woman, you go work, and unless in certain things, just like with Bobby and Lynn,
Right.
that
that's
works,
different.
and that's the way they're wired, and they're doing that thing. And both of them are in agreement. But if that woman is not in agreement with that, you should be working. But if she's in agreement and that's the way it rolls for your household, then God has put you guys together for that reason. Okay? But if she is not in agreement and she's gonna get resentment because you're sitting home, you should be working. No doubt about it, no matter what she's making.
All right, so I'm about to play devil's advocate. I got a question. It's kind of it's kind of directed at the women. Would any of the women feel some kind of way? For example, if you were making $200K a year and your husband was making $40K a year, and he's cool with that. He's fine with the money he's making, but he still wants to be the leader. How would that make you feel? I understand from a Christian standpoint. Huh?
What does Queen say?
I say, because we have these conversations all the time. He's under the belief sometimes you're under the belief that if a woman is making substantially more than a man, then she would inadvertently feel some kind of way towards the guy. And I tell him that there's most women, when we're with you, we're with you. If you are making 40K and that's what you want to make, it's not up to me to say you should be making more. If that's what you want to do and I married you, I support that. Now, if you want to go and do bigger things, if you want to do more, I will push you into that and I will motivate you and inspire you and try to be there as much as I can. But if I'm making 200K and I'm okay with that and you making 40K, I'm okay with what you're making. It's not you. And then if you decide that you still want to be the boss, of course you're the man. I feel like you should be the boss. You should be the leader. That's fine. I don't think just because you make a certain amount of money that pays for you to have all of the say so in the relationship. So if the woman is making more, that doesn't mean that she's like, oh yeah, I get to be the boss because I paid the cost. No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, we do have these conversations a lot, and this really isn't anything personal. But and I understand from the Christian standpoint too, how things are supposed to operate. But I just feel like, I'm saying feel because it's not, I don't feel like it's a fact. I just feel like it all sounds good on paper. But when it really comes down to it, and I want this truck, and paying for this truck depends on a large amount of what she's making. Like she got to work now because we got to pay for this truck. She may not want to go put in extra hours or do anything like that to pay for this truck. And she like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. That would kind of be, that is kind of like grounds for argument. Somebody is gonna feel some animosity. You know what I'm saying?
What I would say for me, I guess I'm the opposite of Quee. I think it would bother me.
That's why I'm asking I'm asking all of the women. You know what I'm saying? So
opposite of Quee, I guess that would bother me and be like, well, Dwayne, do you have a vision where you want to go? Do you want to go to college and get a degree to get up to that point? Something like that. I guess it would bother me, and yeah. So I'm just being honest with myself.
Go ahead. No, you.
Mine probably is a combination somewhere between that. If it was 40,000 and his, he was working hard and you know what I'm saying, he really was showing good skill sets and being responsible and he was happy with what he was doing.
So he's a mechanic.
You know what I'm saying? And
hold on, but it's a lot of ifs in there.
yeah.
And it's a lot of ifs of if he was doing this and if he was doing that. He just wants the truck and we together can afford it, but him by himself, he can't. So a lot of it depends on you. You know what I'm saying? Because hold on. Because as a man, speaking from a man's point of view, if you wanted a new van and I'm making $200K, you got it. It ain't no ifs. It's yours. You know what I'm saying? And I think most of the men here would feel the same way. Am I wrong there?
I guess I just feel like maybe I'm confusing the question that was asked. I mean, I'm just
go ahead,
saying if he
answer.
made 40,000 and all in all he's responsible and he's happy, that's one thing. But here's what I'm also going to say. More than likely, if I'm earning $200,000, and this is what I've run into, not $200,000, but I probably am in a high-powered job. I have acquired man skills of leadership and all these other things. And I've been out there doing the presentations, leading, basically working very similarly, competing with men. I'm probably going to bring some of those powerful types of skill sets in and ruin the balance that way.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'll weigh in. I'll weigh in. I can weigh in.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I would, because I'm a logical thinker, so I would be saying if the, I'd be looking at the whole vision down the road. I mean, how much is we got money for, retirement and everything else down the road. If the money is no object, let's go that route. If the money is no object at all, period, for everything in life that's needed, wanted, and it's a truck, okay, get the truck. But, if that's not the case and, we have a plan for retirement and making sure things are covered way down the road, and that's going to be in effect there, then, then it's probably going to be some stopping on a truck situation if it's not a need and just a want. And also, it's how many times do these wants come up? The wants. You might get the first thing, you might get the second and third thing, but okay, now we're down 4, 5, 6, and 7 big toy items or something, or then gonna look at some stoppage there, maybe. So.
And I mean that's even vice versa. When you get the wife, okay, you get that really expensive purse, you get that, then you get that expensive, jewelry or whatever. But then, and as that kid use it, baby, we gotta, I mean, it kind of goes both ways on those things. That makes a lot of sense right there. I don't know
in this situation, with all things fair, it's not doing anything to harm the finances. It's just she's doing more of the paying for it, and she's doing more of the work in order for it to happen. You see what I'm saying? Because I think, and just playing devil's advocate for again, I just think that if it was a man, if the wife was asking for this, the men wouldn't have any problem doing it. They just do it. It wouldn't be any contingent, it wouldn't be any ifs or buts or anything like that. If you want something and I got the money for it and it's not derailing us in any way, you can have it. You know what I mean? But I think from the woman's side, I just I feel like women, like back to what I was saying earlier, women have a hard time providing for men. You know what I'm saying? In any kind of financial way. For a long period. I'll say they'll do it. They'll do it for a short period of time. You lose your job or something, but the shot clock is on. This can't go on. This can't go on for 3 years. You got like 6 months. You got to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Whereas on the man's side, if the woman loses her job and he can handle it, you ain't got to go back to work. I'm not about to be telling my wife like, look, I can afford everything, but just so we can have more money and you can get those things you want, you need to go back to work. A man is perfectly fine providing for a woman, whereas I think women have a hard time providing for a man long term. And I think that goes back to the wiring. They're not wired to do that. You know what I'm saying? And
I want to weigh in.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say it sounds like it kind of changed, like the scenario that you were giving, because if it's going to be long term, then it sounds like the man is out of his role in which Christ placed him. But going back to what you originally said, I think it depends on the woman and where she is in her life of what she wants out of her husband. Like for me personally, if my husband was doing the best that he could do and he was confident and he was a protector, and I just felt like he was in his place in Christ, you know, he led me spiritually and he was in his room praying when I needed prayer and, you know, there for my children and able to lead them spiritually. Honestly, I don't think that I would have a problem with it if it was just something that he was going through and he wasn't, you know, out of place as far as being a provider and going to work. I really don't think. I think there's other things that I would love my husband to be able to do if he's doing his best.
Well, let me rephrase it a little bit. I don't mean long term as in he's just cool with not going back out. Like things are just not working out for longer than both of y'all expected. You know what I mean? Not just, okay, I lost my job and I'll get around to it when I get to it.
Yeah. Understand. This is good stuff. This is real stuff.
I would be okay with that because it's not long term. It's just something that he's going through.
May I say something, please? I don't want to take it like a personal affront, but I have a degree. I have worked. I've also contracted cancer, and it took 2/3 of my thigh, and I cannot get up and do work. I mean, I can do some chores around the house, but I don't think you were personally attacking me, but for a little bit, I feel like you're saying, hey, to me.
Well, let me give you an example though, Bobby, and Vanessa, I think you can back us up on this. When you know her dad Joe was you know vibrant and going around, and he was working and everything. That was one thing. And Vanessa, I know, I mean, you can talk to us more than I can, but how you were dependent with him, and y'all were doing your thing, and both of you guys had your businesses and all that. Yeah, but when he went through his sickness and everything like that, and she had to take care of him, that's a whole different role.
That's
a whole different role. That's a whole different outlook.
It is.
Came into play and it changed the dynamic.
It changed the dynamic.
So
And Vanessa had the.
That's what I'm getting at. The dynamic change. That's why I was asking the women, how do you feel about it?
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Traditional marriage roles, family.
Yeah, her caretaker thing kicks in, and it's a whole different way she looks at
So
you.
she ended up being like Lynn for 7 years up until my stepdad's death. She was the provider financially, the caretaker, things like that, because he was chronically ill. It did not start out originally like that in their marriage, but it became towards the end of their marriage like that. And that becomes very different. We're just talking about in traditional marriage.
Right. I'm not talking about if the man gets hurt and he's unable to. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about we got two able-bodied people. The woman makes 4 times as much as the man. And how do the women feel about that? dynamic.
And
How do the men feel about that dynamic too? Because we can't sit here and say we don't feel it.
well,
With a woman that's making 4 or 5 times more than you are.
in America, we're getting taught to feel certain ways about certain things. I mean, you see it on every television program, you see it in the way that, and we kind of get conditioned to have a problem with it.
Yes.
Because we don't get taught this. We get a lot of our relationship stuff is all off of what we see around us and the way the movies are and the way the things are. And we get taught that there's a problem with it. So it's kind of down in there. And you're right. It does. And this is why I keep telling the men, don't get offended if she's making more money. Because it does bother him. But the opposite way, it bothers the woman when you're not making enough. So we are wired that kind of way. And you're right. It does bother both sides in a lot of cases. Not in all cases, but in a lot of cases. So what do? We perish because of our lack of knowledge. If we have the knowledge of these things, then we can deal with them better and talk about them better without being offended, so that we can actually come to a light and come to an understanding.
Yeah, these are good questions.
I think.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
I was just going to say, I think this is where love comes into play. The relationship, how strong is the relationship? How much do you trust? And I'm going to say this because I'm 61 years old and I believe I can say this. It has to do with the love that you have for that person. Okay. And then men, I'm going to say to the man, put the pride down and be okay with your wife making more money. Just put the pride down. Give yourself permission to be okay with the fact that she makes more money. And then I'm going to jump in and say that a lot of times men, it's them that are beating themselves down because they're not making the kind of money that they're $200,000 a year and they're making the 40,000. Okay. So you need to be okay men need to be okay within themselves. Okay. And as far as Bobby is concerned, hey, Bobby, how you doing? As far as Bobby is concerned, I can look at that relationship and speak to that because of Joe. Joe was hurting because I was making all the money. I was cutting the grass. I was, doing everything, taking him to dialysis or whatever, and it hurt him. And I remember a number of times telling him, you got to be okay with this because remember, we stood at the altar and said, in sickness and in health, to death do we part.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's what it comes down to. Hey, don't let me start shouting. I will. But that's what it comes down to. It really does.
I will admit that there is some pride in there.
Yes, God, I know it.
But the reason is, I think it's because we are wired that way. I don't think it should be that easy for us to just be cool with our woman taking care of us. Because if we didn't have that pride, if God didn't, I'm not going to say God put pride in us.
No, he didn't.
The word to use, but if we didn't have it, and it would be far too easy for us to just be like, oh yeah, okay, she can provide. Yeah, she can take that role. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's going back to society. I think society is programming men and women to be okay with that. But it throws a dynamic off when you are. You see what I'm saying?
Feminism, we're women, we're strong, we can do this, we can take care of ourselves, we can do it all. So you got a lot of societal values and things that play a role.
Anti-Bible.
Yeah.
They're anti-Bible.
Right. And actually, I had a situation where, I was in the military, my wife made more money than me. The thing about was, my situation, I pushed her to do that. Hey, babe, you know what? You can make this. She's like, for real? Like, yeah, for real. You can make this. So I was the one kind of pushing, hey, you should do this.
That's different too. That's different too, because it's kind of under your direction.
Yeah, so she made more money than me. And one thing you're saying too is that essentially it's not like she came out, we got married with nothing. So we had this. So when she came up, it was like we both came up.
That's what I'm saying.
And all they do is our money. We don't have separate. We have this.
Yes.
Your money and my money together.
It's together.
There's no my money. Well, we have our own personal money spending money, but other than that, we have our money together. So whatever money's in this pot is in this pot. If it's your money and my money, if it's 20K from you, 40K from me, it's still one pot.
That's correct.
So I think, because to answer your question, Elwood, so I think, so in my situation, like I said, I basically pushed her. Hey, baby, you should do this.
Right.
You're good at this. Do this. And this, what she did made money. More money than me. So she was in her lane or what her skill set was, and it happened to make more money than me. No, like I said, it's not right or wrong, just different. But at the same time, it's like, it didn't. She never made me feel bad about it. I would jokingly say something about like, man, you made more money. I need to quit. Where it's like, no.
So not to cut you off, but how did you feel? How did you feel, honestly?
I honestly didn't feel nothing because I was the one who kind of pushed her to it. It wasn't like she just did it and whatever. It's like, no, baby, let's together. So it was kind of our idea and say we came together. Hey, we were in agreement. Hey, we should do this. This will make you more money than me, but it wasn't a pride thing. Or like I said,
right.
It was never really me or her. It was just us. It was never, oh, you're making more money or I'm making money. No, it was us. Because guess what? Us got the bills paid. Us, put savings, went trips, did all the nice stuff because it was us.
Right.
It was always us. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I said, man, yeah, this feel kind of funky. Like, oh my God, you make money. I look at her like,
yeah. See, that's what I'm asking you. Like, I just want to know if there's anything in there.
I mean, for me, I didn't mean to cut you off. But for me, I have to look at it. It's seasons. In our almost 24 years of marriage, we've had seasons where he has tripled what I make, and there's been seasons that I've made more than him. Like different seasons and different phases of our life. When I came out of work sick with cancer, I couldn't work, and he took on so many other things. And then when he was getting out of the military, he was trying to find his footing. He was out of work for a while. So I took on those things. And what happened is when you are together in a relationship and you are both are so invested at succeeding, my job is when you're down, I'm still going to stand strong. When I'm down, I need you to stand strong. So somebody needs to be pulling somebody out the mud, right? And those are seasons that we go through. And I think sometimes, I won't say it's dangerous ground. I won't say it's dangerous ground because I know men have pride and everything like that. And I'm not talking about the devilish pride, but you're proud in what you put your hands to. You're proud in how you take care of your family. But sometimes things are just for a season. And to say that my wife is always going to make more money than me and I only make $40,000 because, and now I feel bad about it. Well, if you feel bad about it, do something about it. And if you don't feel bad about it, be happy with it and just
be done with it.
Be done with it and don't make an issue. Now, when you were talking about the question about like if he wants to buy something and she knows that she's got to pay for it, I think that's different because the intention behind why he wants to buy something that he can't pay for and it's going to wind up being meaning more on her, I think it's just a selfish statement altogether. It's like if it's $240,000 in the account and you want to go buy a truck, go buy a truck. Let's go pick out a truck. But if you say, well, I'm gonna buy this truck, but you're gonna have to pay for it, well, then that's the intentions behind that is changed. Because now you look at it as this is my burden, and it's like, well, what's the intentions behind why are you buying? And I'm not saying you, Elwood, personally, I'm just saying the scenario. Why you want to make that purchase. So my thing is everything is a season. Some you're gonna have highs, lows, adjustments, sickness, health, all of those things are seasons. And what we have to do is learn how to be durable and adjustable during all those phases, and roll with the punches and then keep your mouth closed. Ain't nobody gotta know you only making $40,000 and your wife making $200,000. Ain't nobody gotta know that. Ain't nobody gotta know that. You know.
That's true. Nobody needs-
But hold on, you bring up a good point though when you said that. Why does it?
I'm about to mute
Why
him.
is it a need to keep it quiet?
I'm about to mute him now.
Hold on. Why is it
Well,
a need to keep it quiet?
Go ahead.
It's not a need to keep it quiet. I was saying it more jokingly, but I was just saying, like, if it's a pride thing and a guy is going to feel less than,
Right.
if you feel less than, then that's between you and your spouse to talk about what you can do or what that person could do to feel like they're giving more or they're doing more. And if it's not a problem, because the guy that's making the 40,000, it's his insecurity. Well, I won't say insecurity, that's his problem that he's not making that.
Right.
If you want to make more, that's your partner. You're married to somebody that can make $200,000 a year. So you're married to somebody that knows how to roll, how to make some money. Learn, let them teach you what to do. You get that game too, and y'all work together until you can build that y'all making 400,000. But that's just you and that person figuring it out. But if you walk around here like, man, she making 200, and I'm making 40,000, but you don't want to do nothing about it, then shut up. Just roll with that. But it's like, it's not that it's a shameful thing. If it feels shameful, then you married to somebody that knows what to do. Learn. Let's do it together. Let's figure it out. You know, it's like, if just say opposite wise, if he's making $200,000 and I'm only making 40,000, then I'm gonna need to be. You're gonna teach me, baby, what I need to do to make this too, because I feel some kind of way with how much money I'm bringing in, and it's up to me and him and the good Lord to figure what our plan is, that I can feel like I'm giving more financially. But it's something you just have to work out together, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
Now, we have gone over time. I was
no.
like, wow. I was like, but this is so
That's a
juicy.
good
And
question.
it's been a lot of stuff here. And I thought we were going to finish today, but it is like 5:20. I don't know what you guys want to do.
Just making it interesting. I ain't mean to talk so much. I'm just making it interesting.
Yeah, okay. So February we're gonna finish this because we
won't do the pot like that.
No
we
potluck
won't
in
do the
March.
pot.
We'll finish it.
We won't do the potluck. We'll go ahead and finish this.
Okay.
We'll do potluck some other time or something. But there's a lot of good stuff we gotta finish, and we gotta get through the women, and then and some of the things the Lord revealed to me about the men, and what it means when he says, men, love your wife as you do yourself. There's a lot that goes into that I'm that he revealed to me and showing me how I love my son, and that's your one. And I wanted to share that, but right now I think we gotta
Cover
end.
the women.
But man, that's
and then
good.
also tying it back to how are we supposed to be as the bride? I mean, it's our relationship with Christ. He's supposed to be our husband, man. It says it in Isaiah. So that is also crucial as well as we tie through this. So the next session is Saturday, February 4th at 3:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring all these things. Because unless we talk about them, Elwood, we don't get the help we need. We can't do this in church. You can't. Oh, pastor. Oh. I got a question. Okay, yeah, you and Al too. It just can't happen. But this is where we need to spend the time and get the that we need to make relationships and everything else successful.
Right.
So bring it.
Amen.
Talk about it. Let's hear it. Let's hear Bobby. Let's hear what's working, how they work, and let's do this thing. This is good.
One last thing you gotta understand too. It's not just you thinking that way. And sometimes we get this concept, oh, that's just me thinking crazy. That's just me sounding stupid. No, there's other people besides you who maybe ask the same question, had those same thoughts, and like want someone to, you know what? I want someone to, I wonder how you feel. Maybe, it's not just me. No, there's other people who have those same questions, those thoughts, or those feelings, wherever, and want to say, hey, am I tripping? Am I the only one tripping?
Right.
And it's not.
Yeah. I had not to cut you off. I just had to bring that up. I mean, I know it'd be cool if we was all perfect Christians and everything was just on balance at all times. But I mean, I just think like being a guy, maybe, I don't know. I haven't really been in that position, but would I feel some type of way? I might. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I might.
That's wild.
Who's on the Samsung call? Is that you, Brandon? Did I hear?
I think it might be Miss Kathleen.
Miss
Oh,
Kathleen.
oh,
Miss Kathleen.
oh, it is. Okay. Kathleen, is that you?
No, I wasn't saying anything. I'm just listening. This has been very interesting.
Okay. I wasn't sure because I didn't see your name there first. Okay.
Oh, I'm here.
All right. Well, good you're here because you know what I'm gonna ask you to do.
Okay, I'll pray. Mm. Oh, Father God, we come to you right now in the mighty name of Jesus. And we just thank you for this time in studying about relationships. Father God, I ask that we apply what we have learned and that we teach it to our children and our grandchildren in Jesus' name. And as we go our separate ways, I pray traveling mercies over everyone. I plead the blood of Jesus over them and everything that concerns them. And I thank you for Dwayne and Ayana opening up their home and doing the work to keep this group going. And I just ask that you give them the very desires of their heart in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
It's a Brother Beer podcast.